Hi Seb, thanks for joining me on this video. Basically, for anyone watching, I wanted to ask Seb if he would be able to help me in and anybody else who is struggling or wants to contribute to Umbraco. Now that we've switched to Umbraco v9, not everyone will know exactly how to get up and running. And I've been asked on Twitter as well, I've seen it asked on Twitter, how do you get up and running? And all I've been able to do is share a link to a README file, but it would be good also to have a video that I can share. And so if anyone wants to contribute, especially with today being the Hacktoberfest, then they will be able to. So I think you're going to show us how to get up and running on your machine. And I've already contributed before on the V8, so if you could help me get up and running on mine. And then I think you are on Ubuntu, aren't you?
So this is just Windows 11.
Oh, right, Windows 11, sorry. Yeah.
In my virtual machine, and it's a pretty clean machine, so I haven't done much to it. So I'm trying to get a similar experience as everybody else who's going to start doing this.
Cool. All right. And so where does anyone start if they want to
So first of all, the best thing to do is to read the contribution guidelines that we have set up. It's supposed to detail everything, except it's got some old screenshots from V8 in there.
Okay, I'll put a link in the description, and this is on github.com. So do you have to have a GitHub account if you want to contribute to?
Indeed, yes, you do. Okay. I've created a new user so that I get the outside of HQ experience just like everybody else. So you need a GitHub account so that you can make a fork and actually push to your fork to make a pull request. We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah. Okay.
So first thing you do is make a copy of Umbraco, of the Umbraco source code. So you hit the fork button on GitHub, and it will take a copy into your own account. So instead of Umbraco/Umbraco CMS, you get your username /Umbraco CMS here, and that's the one that you can clone down to your local machine and start working on. As you can see, the default branch here is v9 contrib. That's where we want all the contributions to go. And we can then copy the link that we get from the code window here and plug that into, for example, GitHub. What is it called? The GitHub app?
GitHub for desktop. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So just while you're doing this, can I just ask a question about people that have already got it forked? So if you've already got it forked and you're on V8 and perhaps you're a few commits ahead, but you're also lots of commits behind, what would you suggest someone does in that scenario?
Very good. Start over. So switching between the V8 and the V9 branch is not, it doesn't work. I've tried it and you run into all kinds of weird errors. So I have cloned the Umbraco source code in 2 different folders on my machine so that they don't influence each other. At all.
So would you keep your fork? Don't delete the fork. Just keep your fork, but clone again on a separate folder. Don't run a build.
Exactly.
Check out the V9 contrib branch.
Yeah. Exactly. That's it.
Right.
Yep. I'll do that now. I actually forgot to clone. I forgot to fork before we started this, so I should do it again. And let's make it. Let's rename this one. I probably can't because it's in use. Whoa, don't do that then. Okay, we'll call it Umbraco. Umbraco 9. Why not?
Yeah, I usually have like a folder inside. I have an Umbraco folder, and then in it I have a V8 folder and a V9 folder.
Yeah, exactly. That's perfect.
Cloning.
Oh, I'm not allowed to clone. Why not? Does it need to be? It's interesting. GitHub.com URL maybe there. I wanted to go to the Danish.
Who wants to do it in the Umbraco CMS folder again?
Yeah, Umbraco 9. There we go. That's better. Cool. Cloning Umbraco CMS. So
the one you're cloning is your fork, not the one from Umbraco. So there's no point cloning from the Umbraco one because you.
Yeah. So. Yeah, the reason we want to do that is because we want to be able to push changes to our repository, and of course we don't allow people to push changes directly to the Umbraco repository.
Yeah.
So we need to have a copy, and then we can push changes there, and from there on we can make a pull request that says pull my changes from my fork into the Umbraco CMS.
Okay.
And that's
gone.
That's exactly what a pull request is for, right? It's like please pull my changes. That's what it says.
Yeah, and what you're using here is GitHub for desktop. And what if we wanted to use the command line? What would we do?
Good question. I don't use the command line very much, but something git pull something. There is of course guidance on the GitHub.
Yeah, I think we'd open the folder
so.
with the command prompt, wouldn't we? And we'd go into that folder where we want to clone it and do git clone and paste in the URL.
Yeah.
And then it should pull it to there.
Yeah, this one is using this one is using the GitHub CLI, which is a tool that GitHub made to make these things easier.
Oh, okay.
So the GH repo clone just has slightly different syntax, but you could do it in just on the command line with normal Git, or any other Git tool, of course.
Okay.
Cool. So I've got this one, and it's actually asking me what I'm trying to do with this. Do you want to contribute? And they will help me with it, which is very nice.
Oh, that's good.
Not sure what it's going to do, but we'll see. We'll see that probably a bit later. Cool. So now I have the repository locally. Let me just close the other Visual Studio instance and open this newly cloned version. So the first thing you want to do is try and make it build. For Windows, there's a build PowerShell script that will do everything for you. It will. We have two components to the build. There is the back office, which is a Angular app which needs to build with npm, and then there's obviously the C# source code, so all of the Visual Studio solutions. So build.ps1 will try to build everything in one go. And
is there a certain version of Node we need?
Yeah, so it will try to install download a Node version for you, and we'll actually use that. So it's completely separate. It won't be globally installed. It will just download a version of Node for you. That will help. I actually don't know if I have Node installed right now. So let me just check. I do. Yay.
Oh, good.
That's good.
And also, I was going to ask you, do we need to run this as administrator?
No, not at all.
Oh, that's good.
No, that should all be fine. What I'm going to try is to just do the simple thing and open this in Visual Studio. Oh, where am I? Where's my solution file gone? Oh, in source. So we've set it up so that if you open it in Visual Studio and the front end build hasn't been ran yet, it will try to do that in the background for you.
Oh, that's okay. That's good then.
If that doesn't work, then we do it. Then we need to fall back to the build PS1, or we need to do some manual steps.
Right.
So on this machine, I seem to have not installed .NET Framework 4.5, which two of the projects in Umbraco 9 still use apparently. I'm gonna say update the target to 4.8, which I have on this machine. It's just gonna update the csproj file with a new target. I won't commit those changes back. I don't know if why they're on 4.5, but there should be reasons for it probably.
So if you need the .NET framework, does that mean you can't contribute on like a Mac or anything like that?
Yeah, you absolutely can. So I don't know what it does on Mac and Linux, but I'm assuming it just ignores it. I had just set it to open on a Linux machine, and it seemed to just build just fine. So I'm not entirely sure what it's trying to do here. We should look into that and see if we can update those projects, of course.
Yeah. So you've opened the project. What do you do next?
Yes, I'm just going to do the classic old build and see what happens. Now, the first time you do this is going to take quite a long time, because in the background it will try and build. It's called Bell still. Sort of the back office of Umbraco is the Angular app. It's going to try and build all this. And what it needs to do, the first thing is to do an npm install, which brings in loads and loads of npm packages, which is always fun. And it's going to do this in the background now, and I think you will also not see any progress. So I think it will, when web UI starts building, it will start bringing all those in. Wow, so that was really quick. So I think it went wrong. It usually is, but just to make sure, I'm going to hit F5 and see if it actually did something wrong.
So when you hit F5, which project's launching? Is it the Umbraco?
No, the Umbraco web UI is launching, which is just an Umbraco website.
And so is that one already set as the default start site?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is a clean machine, so you will run into all of these things as well. This one is saying, do you want me to install a self-signed certificate so that we can run on SSL and not have all the warnings saying, hey, this is dangerous, are you sure you want to do this? I trust that Visual Studio will do the right thing for me, so I will say yes, please install a certificate for me. Okay. And make it safe, and make it look safe in the browser at least.
Yeah.
So regular F5 will start Umbraco, and it will run the installer like you're used to, and then we can start working on it. And I think the installer will probably fail now because of the missing back office bits. That's how it's doing at the moment, but we'll give it a minute. Just really. Yeah, so as I thought, and this is good that we actually see this, because a lot of people run into this the first time they try to get Umbraco up and running on their local machine. Okay. So there's two things we can do. We can go into the build folder and run the build.ps1. But what I like to do usually is to actually do the manual install of the Angular app. So what I'm going to do here in the address bar of Windows Explorer, I type WT, which is Windows Terminal. You can also write CMD for old-fashioned command line. I like Windows Terminal. I think that's pretty colors. It's nice. So what we need to do first is do an npm install, and that's going to bring down all the packages that we need and all of its dependencies, of course. And this usually takes a while. If your first Visual Studio build seems to take forever, that's because it's doing all this in the background and it doesn't give you any updates in Visual Studio. So it's just running. Just be patient.
Okay. I'm going to, while you do that, I'm going to do the same. So npm I. And when I've worked with it before, you used to be able to use Visual Studio and go to the tasks and run the tasks from there.
Absolutely,
can you still do that?
You should be able to still do that. Let me see if I can find that actually. Forgot about that one. That is a window.
Yeah, it's other windows, isn't it? View
it's
windows,
busy.
other windows.
Yeah, so it's other windows and then Task Runner Explorer.
Okay.
And currently it has not found any tasks, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Maybe I need to refresh. There we go. Oh yeah, so refresh will show up Umbraco Web UI client and the gulp file. It says failed to load, but that's not a problem. I think when you run it from here, double clicking it, it should run. I don't want to do it at the same time that this is already running. Yeah. But we can try it out in a minute after this one is done.
Okay.
So that's a good tip. Actually, we could avoid the command line altogether this way, possibly, maybe.
Yeah.
Cool. I am done with the npm install. I don't know how far you are.
I'm about 60%, so yeah, getting there.
Then the next and last thing is to run the actual build. So npm run build will run the gulp file.js that you see there and copy all of the front end bits over to the Umbraco install that we're trying to run.
Oh, okay. Because whenever I've done it, I've always done like gulp build. So is it the same thing?
Yeah, it's exactly the same thing. It's just that I don't need to install gulp separately now. It's just npm that's saying, okay, run the gulp build, and it knows how to do it
Right.
without installing gulp. I don't think if I type gulp, I probably don't have any, and it doesn't work probably. We'll see in a minute.
Oh, okay.
It should also run all the unit tests for the front end.
Are they Cypress ones?
No, these are just for Angular.
Oh, I see.
You see them flashing by in a minute.
Yeah, mine's done as well. So it's npm run build.
Yes.
Okay.
And all of this is first time setup. So after you've done this once, all of it will be faster, and most of it will just work unless you need to do a new front end build, and then we need to do something else. That's fine.
Okay.
All right. So there's lots of unit tests here, serializing JSON and all good stuff that the back office does for us apparently.
Nice.
Maybe our gulp file is happier now. No, it doesn't. It doesn't seem too happy still. Oh, there we go. It is actually. So the reload actually worked. So we can do a build. A dev is when you're actually when you're working on development, you run that one. I don't know what the difference between dev and watch is actually. Traditionally, a watch is what you would use while you're working on your JavaScript and your CSS files, so that whenever you make a change, it starts building and puts the changes into the Umbraco folder.
Yeah.
Are you done yet on your end?
Yeah, it looks like it's
npm Run
finished.
Build?
Yeah, it's just finishing off some of these tasks. Getting all the green ticks now. So yeah, it's about ready.
Yeah, that's good. All right, let me try again to just hit F5 or run an IS Express and see what happens this time.
Okay.
Hopefully the installer should be a bit happier this time.
While we wait for it to run, if you want to start working on an issue, where's the best place to look for issues to work on? Oh,
yeah, so good. So it's still on GitHub. So if we go to Umbraco CMS and have a look at the issues, of course, there's loads of them. If we filter by, and I can send you a link for this as well. If we filter by label project/v9, so that we only have the v9 issues, and then we can also filter by community up for grabs. That's the ones that we know that or that we would like the community to work on. We don't have up for grabs. We don't have immediate intention to work on these. There's not a lot of them open at the moment because v9 is perfect, of course.
Yeah.
No, v9 is very new. It was released 2 days ago, so there's not a lot open yet. But we expect throughout October to have more issues open, and we're actually working on adding a new one that will ask for contributions to tag helpers. That's a new concept in .NET Core. Or .NET 5, which will help make templating easier and make it easier for you to write some code without having to write all the code in your templates.
Yeah.
So we'll ask for contributions there as well.
Okay.
A good one that's open right now, which I wanted to look at, is that my colleague Paul here found, also named Paul, found that in our translation files, we keep referring to things like webconfig. So I wanted to see if we could make an update there to say this is not webconfig anymore, but application settings.json.
Yeah.
Oh, I am in the wrong. There we go. What was I looking for? I was looking for my installer. Yes, Umbraco. So
So what did you do to get the browser to load? Did you just hit F5 again on the
yeah.
Visual
So this was
Studio?
just a file from Visual Studio indeed. So it's running. It's got a debugger attached, which doesn't need to. We can run it without. Just Control F5. My super secret password. Now I am wondering. Setting up a database. Okay, so it knows what to do on its own. Then I don't have to worry about creating a database.
Oh, that's good, yeah.
I'm not sure if it does SQL CE. I think what it does is it tries to create a local DB, and if it can't, then it will try to create SQL CE. Let's see what it has done for us. Go back to source, web UI here, and then look at, oh yeah, I don't know where the database would be located. In Umbraco, I guess, data. There we go. Yeah, so these are two files. This is local DB. So if you have SQL Server installed with local DB support, it will the Umbraco installer will use that as a default. If it can't create a local DB, it will do a SQL CE.
And the way to tell is the local DB ends with MDF, doesn't it? And then SQL CE is at SDF.
SDF, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
And it's two files for local DB and only one for SQL CE.
Yeah.
So it's pretty easy to see the difference.
Okay.
Oh, we have Umbraco version 9 installed. It's amazing. Looks like, just like version 8, doesn't it?
Yeah. I've got a question at this point. So
yes.
When you ran this, you did it with Visual Studio and F5. All the demos that I've seen so far from Umbraco 9 has all been through the command line. Is there a reason? Yeah. Is there a reason why you did it that way? And could you do .NET Run instead?
I just did it this way for familiarity, because people would have seen this before, and of course, yes, the CLI stuff all works as well, exactly the same way. So no problem. So we could have gone into where's my Solution Explorer? We could have gone into this folder and started a terminal and run .NET Run from there, and it would have done exactly the same thing. Yep.
Great. Mine's working too.
Perfect. That's nice. So right now I have no. Oh, let's not close this one. I have no content or anything. I don't need to work on anything content related, because I wanted to look at the translation files and see if I can make an update there. Yeah. So let's have a look. I'll stop this. I don't really need it running in the background while I'm working on this. Translation files live in the Umbraco folder in config lang, and Paul, my colleague, was talking about the EN. Let's see if we can find a web.config here. Aha. Oh, yeah. So database error web.config could not save the web.config file. See, I'm wondering now if this is actually even ever going to throw. So I'm going to go look for web.config. So I typed Control-T in Visual Studio, which is a go-to all. And I'm going to actually see if this database error web.config is used anywhere. It's not found. So maybe if I do Control-Shift-F and find all, it might be hiding somewhere.
And another way of finding it is in the GitHub website, isn't it, as well? You could search on GitHub in the repository.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so in GitHub, it's you can say in this repository, and I will actually try and find this as well. Oh, it didn't find anything. It didn't index anything yet, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, because it would have found it from this EN XML file if it was working properly.
Exactly. So, of course, it's found loads of those in the translation files, which is what we expected, but where it's actually used is over here, and it's only used in the mocks here. So I think that we're not actually using this anymore because we don't need to write the web config. Then again, we do need to write to app settings.json. So I'm not sure.
I wonder if there's a new one added at the bottom of this.
Yeah, that could be it. But it wouldn't be in the mocks here, I would suppose. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know where that one is used. So that one could be unused. It must be, because I can't find it anywhere. And I looked for, so how the translation works is it has an area and then a key. So sometimes it says, as you can see here, it says installer underscore, and then the key. In this case, I can only find one which is in the mocks. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this. I think it's unused. And then the code reviewer can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the code reviewer will probably be me. So, so I need to ask one of my teammates to do it.
The future you.
Exactly. Let me just check if we have this one, for example, if we have the other ones still in use. Maybe none of them are in use anymore. That would be nice. So it's again in the mocks. So that's the unit testing for the front end, and again in the lang files, but nowhere else. That's interesting. So do we have database install? Oh, that's going to have a lot more results, I'm sure, because there will be methods called that. Database install step, yeah, there you see it already. So I need to find out somewhere where we use it as a translation, again in the mocks, and again in the language files, which we already know about. Wow, we might need to remove all of this, the whole installer thing.
Yeah,
I'm sure I've seen one of these. It's been copied to your database, been upgraded. Interesting. Let's see if database upgrade done is existing anywhere. Anyway, apparently not. Let's see. So what I can do, because I changed the mocks here, I need to run the unit tests again. So let me run the run test command here, see if everything still works. Should do, because we only removed one, so it should still work.
Yeah. I've realized that I've got a perfect pull request. I've got an issue that I raised this week, and it would be a perfect one to do on this, because hopefully it'd be a very small one, but ideal to do in this. So yeah, let me know.
We can do that. What is the issue?
All right, I'll share my screen then. So
sure. So I'll stop sharing
this. Share screen one. Right, can you see my screen yet?
Yeah, it's coming. There we go. Yep.
Yep. Oh, no, I've already done it as a pull request. It was one of those, it would have been an ideal pull request. Maybe we can have a look at where it is and how to do it. But I did it in the browser because it was such a simple one. But essentially, what it is, you know, Craig 100, Craig Stevens, he alerted me to the fact that this is uppercase here, but what it needs to be is all lowercase, because because of the problem he's on Linux Mint, and it was breaking on his. So he first of all submitted it to my starter kit, thinking it was a problem on my starter kit, but I traced it back, and it's actually part of the Umbraco source code.
Good.
So,
what we can do is I can take over again, and we can actually make the same change, so we can show people the flow of actually making up the final pull request. And that's a nice one to do. Share. This one. Cool. So that was it was called default.htm, but I'm sure there's loads. HTML, and it was for the block list editor.
Yes.
Was it this one? No.
It's the one. It's in partials. So it's in views, partials, block list, and then default. So Umbraco Web UI. Yeah.
Oh, CSHTML. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that one there.
Yes. So this needs to be all lowercase.
Yes,
B and the L. Yeah. And components. Is that fine?
Components is not all lowercase.
Okay. Cool. Then we'll keep components as it is. Oh, I lost my file. Here we go. Sweet. Save that one. I'll discard the changes. Okay, so two things here. The package lock.json file has been updated because I'm using a different version of Node than when the previous person built this. Please don't commit this one, you can
yeah.
just discard it. We don't need to have the updated version. It'll regenerate sometimes. It's a bit annoying, but you don't need to commit that ever, unless you're making updates. Unless you're actually making updates to the package.json, so the file that defines which packages we need to install for the front end of the back office. So if you change any of these dependencies, then you would also need to submit the package log.json.
Right.
Cool. So I can see I've changed one file here. Do we have an issue number?
So
That'd be nice.
well, it was straight in as I did it straight in as a PR actually.
Okay. Then it's also fine.
Yeah.
So we'll give it a description saying fix casing issue for Linux users. There we go. Users. And now it says commit to v9 contrib, which is the wrong thing to do. So what we want to do first is make a new branch based on v9 contrib. We need that because if we want to do another pull request after that, then we can't do it on the same branch because the existing pull request will then be updated with the new changes. So you'd be putting two changes in one pull request. And that's not what we want. We want to keep the changes as simple as possible.
Yeah.
So we're working on one thing, and we'll make a new branch for this one. So we'll call it v9 bug fix / Linux, for example. Leave my changes. No, I want to bring my changes to that I just made to this new branch, and then switch to the branch.
Yeah, I didn't realize you could do multiple forward slashes when you do those new branches.
Oh, yeah.
I've only ever done one.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So what I usually do is v9 / bugfix / issue number, or v9 /feature / issue number, and then we have them all organized. Yeah, by what they are. Cool. Well, I don't have much more to say. It's pretty clear what the thing does. So I'll commit this one. That's going on my local machine now, and it's actually indeed trying to help me. So it says, "Do you want to publish your branch to GitHub?" And then you can share it, open a pull request, and collaborate with others. Fantastic. That's exactly what I wanted to do.
So when it says publish a branch, does that mean push that back up to the origin?
It pushes it, yeah. So it's the same as actually going in and where is it? I don't know where it pushes here. Repository push. It's the same thing. It helps me even further here, and it says create pull request. But I actually wanted to do it from a browser.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were going to ask a question.
Yeah, I was going to say, so that tool is quite useful for people that aren't familiar with Git terminology.
Exactly,
things like that.
It's nice. It will guide you nicely, and I will know what happens when I create pull request here. Actually, let's just try it out. Oh, okay. It sends me to the browser. Never mind.
Oh, okay.
So it does exactly the same thing as I was going to show. So what I was going to show is over here, when you push a new branch to your clone of Umbraco or your fork of Umbraco, it tells you, hey, you've created a new push with a new branch. Do you want to make a pull request for it? And that's exactly what I was trying to do. So it's helpful there already. Right, it takes the commit message, and we can start adding a description here. So I've added steps to test. Let's do some steps to test. Run on Linux and try to create a block list. It should fail before this PR can work after applying these changes. The more information you can add for us to make it easy to test, the better. We love videos as well, and animated GIFs or screenshots if necessary. Anything you can do that to help us. Yeah, screen to GIF is fantastic. It produces not just GIF files, but also it can do MP4 videos as well. So easy to work with. I like MP4s because I can scroll through them. So if you go too slow, then in a GIF I need to wait.
Oh yeah.
So it's nice if I can just skip a minute. Yeah. Here's a fun checkbox: allow edits by maintainers. If we're generally happy with your pull request when we were reviewing it, but we see one little thing that's off.
Yeah.
If you allow this, and it's by default it's on. If you allow edits by maintainers, we can make a quick change before we merge it. So we don't have to ask you, hey, can you make this change? And then we need to wait for you to get back to it.
Right.
So I love when people leave this on. Cool. So now I've made the same pull request as you. So our reviewer will go, hey, this is probably a duplicate, and we'll not merge it. I can't merge here. And someone needs to review this first, so that's all right. And what happens next, as you can see, is that all the automated checks start running. So on our build servers, there's a Linux and a Windows run to run the acceptance tests. So that's the Cypress test that you talked about earlier.
Yeah.
We're doing builds. We're doing all the things, integration tests. Just for this little typo, we're running, I think, 9 or 10 different builds to make sure that everything works, and then we can feel very confident that we can merge this if everything still succeeds.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah.
So that's good then. So it looks like that one would get merged because it's a simple one, isn't it?
Exactly. That should be good to go. Yeah.
And that's the type of contribution people can do, isn't it, as well? Because people that are new to Umbraco, that are using these different operating systems, can actually come across these and contribute back in this sort of way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's nice that we run all the automated tests. We're also going to get a bot commenting in a minute saying, hey, thank you for your contribution. This is the things that we'll be looking for. So we'll be looking for if you accidentally made any breaking changes, or if you, I don't know, if the tests, we wait until the tests succeed before we merge anything in and things like that. So we can check off some checklists. So if you suddenly see that comment and go, oh, I forgot something super important from that checklist, then you can still make corrections. Yeah. And corrections, as I said, if you add a new commit to this branch and push it, it will automatically update the pull request with your correction. So if you make 3 or 4 commits, that will all automatically update this pull request that already exists. And then at the end, what I usually do is just squash the commit. So we'll take those 4 commits and make it into one, and then it will be merged as one commit in the Umbraco source code.
Brilliant. I've got another question then. So if people want to take part in Hacktoberfest and they want to do it for Umbraco as well, do you need to be registered with the DigitalOcean Hacktoberfest campaign to be able to qualify for the Umbraco one or not?
No, not at all. We don't have their data. You only register with them if you are planning to score yourself a DigitalOcean T-shirt, and if you want to participate only with the Umbraco one, that's fine. We track what's happening in October, and we'll send you a survey afterwards asking you if you want to have swag from us or if you want to plant trees instead.
Yeah, and when you do become a contributor, you get a special badge on our Umbraco.
Yeah. Exactly. If you don't have one already, then you get the nice contributors badge on our Umbraco. So if you don't have an our Umbraco account yet and you want that badge, then create one ahead of time so we can find you and award you that badge as well, so you can show it off.
Cool. I think there was one more thing.
We're actually thinking about. So we have our. I'll show that one as well. We have our Discord channel where we're talking about Hacktoberfest this year, which is over here. Let me share the screen. So we have our Discord channel where Hacktoberfest is a thing. We can talk if you have problems getting things up and running, like maybe, then drop in here. And we were actually thinking we should actually give people a special role if they are on the Discord, and we could give them a contributor role, for example. That would be nice, nice thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
But please do drop in into the Discord if you have any troubles or any questions. Where we would love to help you out.
Yeah. Okay. Was there any more you wanted to go over in terms of contributing and anything like that?
I think this is the basics of it, and most people, for most people, it takes a bit. If you've never built the Umbraco source code, it's a bit of trial and error in the beginning, and as soon as you're up and running, it should be pretty easy to find where you need to go. Otherwise, ask if you are trying to do something specific, you don't know where to look, we're happy to help you as well. What I usually do is just go, okay, I want to update this. I see on the in the interface there's a name here. I'll just search the whole code base for that name, and then I'm probably pretty close to the code that I want to be at.
And it helps now that the default branch is the v9 one as well, because you can search the web interface, can't you, for it? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. That's always been annoying that the web interface only takes the default branch when you search. So now the default branch is actually v9. So
yeah. Another good tip, I think, is when you're working and you're making changes, say, to the front end of Umbraco, is to turn off the caching. Disable cache. So you can when dev tools are open. So
so there's a few things indeed. I can show that as well. So one thing that's important there. Oh, that's not a thing anymore. I just realized. I was going to say you need to turn debug on, but I think debug. Oh yeah. So debug should be on true here.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. But that's mostly for hosting, I guess. And then if you are in the browser, do I still have it open? No. Let's do Control F5. So that's building without attaching, or running without attaching the debugger. Oh. What is Edge saying? Open Edge DevTools. Yes, please. It's because it's the first time I'm doing it. It's helping new users. So yeah, in your network tab, there is a disable cache checkbox, which is very handy so that you don't ever get any cached versions here. And of course, well, not of course, but the other tip is to run the npm run watch while you're working. When you do that, or you can do it from the Visual Studio task runner, of course. The watch is over here. But when you do that and start changing things, so let's see, what can we do? Well, it doesn't really matter what we do anyway. Do we have the login screen? No, let's just edit one file, say dashboard. I don't want it to change tab, but I want it to change group. As soon as I hit Control S here or click the save button, you'll see that this one starts to do some building. So it's now rebuilding the Umbraco directives, which it will rebuild all of the HTML. Once this is done building, you go back to your browser, click refresh. An interesting one here is even if you have disable cache not checked on. Oh, it's gone nuts now. I don't know what it's doing. Stop. Ooh. I think it's gone. Let me just do that again. Control Shift F5 to restart. Did it? No? Oh, it did. It stopped in general because I closed the browser probably.
Yeah.
Well, the tip was that once as soon as the F12 tools are open, see if it loads this time. There you go. Even if you don't have the disable cache enabled, you can right-click on the refresh button and say empty cache and hard refresh, and then you'll definitely sure that there's no cached versions coming in. So that's a good one as well.
So we've got a smidge now instead of client dependency, haven't we? And is it doing the same sort of job?
Yeah, exactly. It's doing the same job. I must admit I haven't explored very much on how it works, so we'll see.
But as long as we've got
debug is true, yeah, it doesn't do anything exactly.
Okay, cool. I think that was everything I wanted to ask. There was a pull request that I did have in mind, which I thought would be a nice UI enhancement, and maybe someone watching might want to submit it. But you know, when you hover over the document types, you know how we've got the icons now with the document types. But when you add a description to a document type underneath the name, I thought it'd be really good when you're in the document type view to, as you hover over a document type, you see the description in the
nice.
title. So I was going to ask you, do you know where to find how to do that? But you did already say that you just search through and try to find.
So in that case, I would even go further and inspect the element where the title now is, and see, like, find a class name that looks fairly unique, and see where I can find. It's probably an HTML file where it needs to be updated or something. I'm not sure. So I'll find a class name that's looks unique and find that in the code base.
Yeah, so if anyone's watching and they think, I fancy doing that in Hacktoberfest, then just put a comment and say that you've created an issue. Maybe you could link to that as well, and we can click through and see how it's going on.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, all right. Well, I think that's everything that I wanted to get out of this video. So yeah, appreciate you taking the time, especially after just.
I look forward to all the contributions. Yeah. Oh, I'm on a roll today. I'm just doing video after video.
Brilliant. All right. Well, thanks ever so much, Seb.
No problem. Thank you, Paul.